You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, welcome back to Ask the Master Auto Technician. I have Stephen Lang on here. And Stephen, you're calling from Pottersville, Georgia. Is that right?
Pretty close. It's Powder Springs, Georgia.
Okay.
And I was kind of surprised I didn't hear some banjos in the background as a tribute to where I live now.
If you hear banjos, that means paddle faster. That's all I can say. When you hear banjos, that's what something Frank Sundrum would probably say. Paddle faster. I hear banjos. Anyway, tell me a little bit, what does an auto journalist do? I mean, I don't know.
Well, everybody has a little bit niche, regardless of the industry that they're in. And I'm pretty much a used car guy of the industry. I started out as an auto auctioneer.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started traveling around the country auctioning vehicles for Capital One.
Wow.
So I ended up inspecting, appraising, and liquidating over 10,000 vehicles a year for them.
Wow.
So cars were my life for a very long period of time.
So you know the good, the bad, and the ugly about cars then.
Oh, God, I had so much ugly out there, you wouldn't believe it. First of all these vehicles were repossessions. So, you know, you more or less get the patient after the patient is dead.
Oh, you do get to do an autopsy then.
Exactly. And the sad part of these autopsies during that period of time was that they just had a lot of weirdness to them. For example, the first auction I ever did for them was, first vehicle was a Ford Ranger with no options whatsoever. It was a small pickup truck.
Yeah.
Except for some reason, someone decided to put leather seats in it, but nothing else. I mean, it could have been from the 1970s. That's how base it was.
Wow.
And then the next 9 vehicles were all cheap Kias with, I remember the majority of them even had their roofs bashed in a little bit. For a while, I started to think that Kia Rios came from the factory with their roofs indented just a little bit.
Well, that's probably because the metal's so thin, and when you put your groceries up there or put a beer, it puts a dent in the hood. Maybe that's what. Yes, I don't.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the one vehicle that you don't want to. You know, if your kid ever has a low practice, it's one vehicle you never want them to use for that purpose because it'll fall apart over the course.
Well, I can't pick. I own a couple Kias, so I can't pick on them. I mean, they're pretty good cars for what they are, but I don't. I got newer ones. I don't know what the older. I know the older ones were like killed in action. They didn't last much longer. I mean, when did they come out? When did Kias and Hyundais come out? About 1990, something like 85, 90, somewhere in that area?
Well, it's interesting because Hyundai really started coming out into the United States in the early and mid 1980s. First, they had a little car called the Pony, which was popular in Canada, and then they came out with the Excel for $49.95. This was back when you go for $39.95. We called this the good old days. And long and short of it, Hyundai learned the curve. They, they started like a lot of other new manufacturers in this day and age. You know, they had to be the bottom of the barrel for a while, but they learned how to build quality vehicles. And right around 2000, 2001, there started to be a strong paradigm shift towards them starting to offer better and better quality vehicles.
I agree. That's when I saw that happening, around 2000, 2001. Correct. Absolutely.
Now, Kia went bankrupt, though. Kia went the exact opposite direction. So when you buy a Kia these days, it's not a Kia, it's a Hyundai. It's just a Hyundai with a different name on it.
That's what I keep telling people. The Hyundai and Kia are the same thing. I said the only difference is the name. And kind of like Chevrolet and Pontiac, you know, same thing, just same parts, just different names on them. But we don't have Pontiacs anymore. Now,
that's a name I'd love to see come back someday. I'd love for us to have proper sports cars with that beautiful Pontiac name, you know, just like we used to have the GTO and we had the Firebird.
Yes.
And, you know, when I was a teenager, that represented the ultimate in freedom and excitement.
Well,
and now it's kind of like, I don't know, you know. They should have stopped trying to make mom's car. And when they start to make mom's car, that's when they start to have their demise.
Now, don't go away, Stephen. I got Brandon on here. I don't want him to go away either. Is he still on there, Anna Marie? Brandon, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, Brandon, let me ask you a question. You know, we're talking about cars. You have a 2001 Town & Country. What's your problem about that? And maybe if I don't know the answer, Stephen, who auctioned off 10,000 cars a year, he may have seen this problem. So what is your question, sir?
Well, I'm trying to get the air conditioner to work, and basically it started off, you know, the condenser was leaking, fixed that. Anyway, long story short, got the compressor in there, and it won't come on. And when I check the connector there at the clutch, there's power going both wires.
Well, yeah, there's power going to both wires because it gets a ground. What happened? Why you're seeing power? You got voltage, but you don't have a ground. What you need to do is one of those wires need to be ground. That's what needs to go on. So you've got, when you turn the key on, normally you have a ground constantly there. You know, the ground's always there. When you turn it on, it sends power down there through the relay. But what's probably happening is you're getting power going through the relay, but you've got an open in the coil and there's no ground.
Open in the coil on the...
Yes, what I want you to do is go down there. You know you got a power. You know you got power on both leads. Unplug it, and you'll see you only have power on one lead when you unplug it. When you plug it back in...
power on both.
When you unplug it, you got power on both?
Yeah.
Okay, well, do me a favor then. Unplug it, and then run you 12 volts to one post with it unplugged. I don't want you to do any damage. Run 12 volts to one post and negative to the other post and see if the clutch engages. If the clutch engages, call me back, and I'll give me enough time during the next hour to look and see if I can point you in the right direction.
Okay.
Okay, that's the best I can do on that one right there. But when you unplug that, just throw that switch out of the way. Give me 12 volts on one post. It doesn't matter on that clutch on there. It's DC, and negative on the other, and it should go click. And if it goes together, great. Call me back, and I'll be able to point you in the right. If it doesn't go click, you got a bad coil.
On the compressor.
On the compressor. And the easiest way is to change the compressor. It's not worth trying. It's not worth trying to put a clutch in there. You'll never get it. You'll spend more money and buy you a factory brand new compressor for about the same amount you could buy a clutch for.
In our business, we have a saying: if you're gonna if you want to do it right the first time, don't get the cheap stuff. Get something that's going to be durable and that'll last for you. The good thing about the Town and Country is that they made that model for 7 years, and virtually all the parts for it are going to be able to work on it for a very long period of time. So if you just take care of this one issue, and it really is a very, very minor issue. I mean, it's more or less just an installation issue. And once you get that done, you'll be golden. You'll have another beautiful vehicle for as long as you want to, and God knows with our new CAFE requirements, you may never be able to get a vehicle that big and nice again. So
that's good advice. That's great advice, because they don't make those vehicles that big anymore, do they? I mean,
they're trying to shrink them now, and it's really sad that we're getting to that point where you can't get a nice, comfortable cruiser for a big family. They're pushing away from that now, and I have customers who contact me at at Yahoo and other places right at like the Truth About Cars and Road Truck, and they say, what vehicle actually has good space for 3 rows? In other words, I have a bigger family. Right. What's going to actually fit? And there's nothing out there, nothing that can do that other than the Dodge Grand Caravan, which actually Dodge is now going out, so now it's going to be known as the Chrysler Town and Country.
Right.
And it may be the point where they're getting a new one coming in. This new one may not have that low end that they had before, because they're going to try to push those prices up and get those returns back. And by the time 5 years from now, you may end up with a situation where CAFE pushes those nice little engine options out. You may be back to a 4-cylinder vehicle that weighs 4,000 pounds.
And that's probably what's going to happen. Because now Chrysler is now owned by Fiat. So they like small cars. We know about the 500. Now I know about Fiats, which does it stand for Fix It Again Tomorrow or Fix It Again Tony? I can't remember. But I love Fiats. That's how I got into business, working on Fiats. But Stephen, I want to thank you so much for calling. I'd like for you to call, if you don't mind, pick this time if you want to every week. Just come by and talk for a couple minutes and tell us what's going on, what you found that's exciting that people might want to know about. I like your viewpoint on, like you said, they made it for 7 years. I didn't know they made it for 7 years. I knew they made it for a long time. And I know the 3.0 engine liked to smoke and leak oil, but the 3.3 was almost bulletproof.
I fell in love with a 3.0 back in the day. I used to have to give it a monthly cleaning due to all the oil leaks when I was first getting involved in this business. Oh God, that thing leaked oil like a sieve.
Well, Mitsubishis, they make great airplane engines, and they make terrible car engines sometimes on oil leaks. But they've gotten a lot better. That's a Mitsubishi engine, in case people think I'm picking on Chrysler. But that engine, that 3.0, it's a workhorse of an engine. If the timing belt ever breaks, it didn't bend any valves or anything. You just put it right back together again. But boy, did it leak oil. Did it leak coolant? Did it leak oil? Valve covers, PCV valves, everything on that would leak. All right, Stephen, thank you so much for calling. We'll talk to you hopefully next week, okay? Thanks for calling, sir.
Wonderful. You have an awesome weekend.
You too, Stephen. Thanks for calling. That was wonderful. I like people like that give a different perspective and know things that I don't know about cars, and that's what this show's about, is exchanging information. So if you got a car question, you got a comment, you want to be part of the show, give us a call, 850-763-0555. And remember, the only dumb question is the one you didn't ask when we're off the air. We'll be right back.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, beep.